Our top stories tonight: more arrests in Vuani as pupils get ready for classes tomorrow. The presidency dismisses reports that the finance minister faces arrest.
And the Blitzbokke beat Australia to claim the plate final of the Paris Sevens.
This is Enews Direct Weekend Edition. Good evening, I'm Amy McIver.
And I'm Benito Vegatini. You can comment on any of our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter at Enews Direct.
Or you can check our content on our website, enca.com/direct. To Limpopo now, and police have arrested 4 more people in Vuani. The group includes a local councillor. 21 people have been arrested over the past 2 weeks. They're facing charges of public violence and malicious damage to property. Protesters torched several schools during a wave of violence. The 4 suspects will appear in court tomorrow. 17 others are set to apply for bail when they return to court this week. Meanwhile, government says schools will reopen tomorrow, but some classes will be held in temporary containers.
What we've done is to request the South African Police Service to be on standby to assist us to ensure that there is some level of protection for learners, for them to feel secure, but also for educators, because we want the environment to be conducive for them to go to school, for them to feel that indeed things should go back to normal. But we also are appealing to parents to accompany their children to schools so that they can observe how day one is going to be like. But as education, we have requested our school principals and teachers to go first to schools to make sure that they make the necessary preparations so that when learners go to school, they find things having been prepared and ready for learning and teaching to proceed.
The Gauteng Education Department intends suspending teachers and pupils behind last week's violent protest at Orlando High School. Police used rubber bullets to disperse a group of rampaging pupils who'd locked themselves in the school building. 4 pupils were arrested after stolen laptops were found in their bags. The protest erupted after the principal served a teacher with a notice to attend a disciplinary hearing.
This is what the principal's office at Orlando High School has been reduced to. It was allegedly trashed by pupils demanding his removal. Most of the windows of the administration block were smashed, computers damaged, and equipment stolen. The Gauteng Education Department is adamant that no public funds will be used to clean or fix the school.
If they don't want to clean, we'll wait until they are ready to clean. I'm not going to take chances. They messed it up, they must clean it. That's the only way that they must know that this is wrong.
The principal, Peter Nhlapo, is being placed on special leave while the complaints against him are investigated.
The principal, he got an anger management.
The principal has an anger management problem and he can't control himself towards the learners and the teachers.
I don't entirely blame the children because I don't believe they are the source of this thing. It comes from the teachers.
And that if you are a teacher and you are responsible for influencing these kids to do wrong things, I have the responsibility to defend our learners, and I have to take care of this teacher and remove this bad influence amongst other teachers.
Parents have agreed to work with the department to stabilize the school.
Today we are not educated and we are forced to work hard for our children because during our time we were denied the opportunity. But now they have to do their best to learn so they can make something of their future.
Classes are expected to resume on Tuesday. Pagamile Hlubi, Soweto.
The presidency has rubbished reports that Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan will be arrested. It's dismissed the story, saying it's a fabrication by those who want to cause confusion and mayhem. The claims appeared in the Sunday Times this morning. The newspaper is reporting that the Hawks delivered a docket to prosecutors. It also suggested that Gordhan could be charged with espionage. Hawks spokesperson Hangwani Malotsi has dismissed the claims as has the National Prosecuting Authority. Both are investigating claims of a rogue spy unit at the Revenue Service. Gordon was the SARS commissioner when the unit was allegedly created. Pensioners from the Eastern Cape have been protesting outside Parliament for weeks. The group of about 140 say they've not been paid money owed to them by a former Bantustan parastatal. They want government to help them, and they say they won't leave without a fight.
Living on hope and a prayer. For weeks, these pensioners have walked daily from a church where they're staying to Parliament. They're former employees of the Ciskei Transport Corporation, which shut down in 1990. They say they've been waiting since then for their pension and UIF benefits. It's not the first time they've appealed to Parliament for help.
They didn't care about us and approach us to try all these 3 weeks. They never came.
Fizile Landulele worked as a bus mechanic for the corporation for 15 years and has nothing to show for it. He says he won't budge despite threats of arrest for blocking the entrance to Parliament.
We were ready to, if they want to take us, to arrest us, we were ready because we didn't ask about this money. This is our money. This is our money we want.
The group's consultant says they're not leaving until they're paid.
We expect to stay here until Jesus Christ can come to us. We can't move here until they must pay the agreement of UIF and their pension fund. We can't move here.
The issue has been referred to the Labour Department, but the department says there's little it can do. Legislation at the time meant many of the pensioners did not qualify for unemployment insurance.
While we were verifying, we picked up that indeed there are some of the employees who, after they've worked for CTC, they worked for other companies, and therefore they were contributing to UIF, and on the basis of that, we paid them. The rest, we are in the process of verifying their information with the insurer that they were using at the time, just to help them to get their money if they did not get their provident fund.
The pensioners say if they die before they are paid out, their families will take up the fight. Lester Kivat, Parliament.
Several fishing communities are appealing for help after a group of foreign trawlers was spotted on the east coast. Officials identified 9 suspicious vessels. One has been taken to Cape Town, but the rest managed to flee. Now, local fishermen say they're not getting enough protection.
It took armchair activism to blow the lid on suspected illegal fishing off South Africa's east coast. These satellite images, taken by marine conservationists, show 9 fishing trawlers hovering in South African waters on Tuesday. Salt Fishing South Africa says it immediately alerted government.
This is not the first time this kind of thing's happened. There have been a number of times on salt fishing where we've had guys raise concerns around Sodwana, the MPA there. The Transkei coast, we regularly have guys complaining. And I think the angling community and the dive community, nature conservation are all getting to the point where they've had enough.
The group has over 18,000 Facebook members. They're up in arms that the trawlers were so close to our coastline. They're believed to be from China and operated by a fishing company in Angola. The South African Navy has been called in to help search for the 8 other vessels. But as these images show, the trawlers are on the run. Johnston says they're concerned that Esimvelo KZN Wildlife's marine patrols along the province's coastline are about to end. The Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries is stepping in.
The fishing community as a whole overall believe that once DAF takes over from Esimvelo, it'll be a free-for-all poaching from the coast, from the shoreline, as well rock and surf. And a large amount of the guys would really like to see Esimvelo still maintain that contract.
The Fisheries Department says it plans to work with other security clusters to increase its coastline presence. Salt Fishing South Africa plans to hand over a petition to government calling for more power to be given to the Navy and SAPS to monitor the country's waters. Judith Subban, Durban.
We're moving to international news now. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has threatened to seize factories that have stopped production and jail their owners. The warning comes a day after he declared a 60-day state of emergency over the country's rapidly deteriorating economy. Opposition protesters are pushing for him to be removed from power. Since the price of oil nosedived, Venezuelans have had chronic product shortages, triple-digit inflation, and the country's at risk of defaulting on its debt. Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye has been charged with treason following his arrest on Wednesday. He declared himself the country's president while challenging Yoweri Museveni's election victory earlier this year. The charge carries the death penalty. And a spectator has videoed an aerial stunt that went wrong at an air show in the United States. The pilot of the biplane was killed when it plunged to the ground. The cause of the crash is still being investigated. Well, after the break, we bring you director Steven Spielberg's latest offering, a big screen adaptation of a much-loved children's book. And now some entertainment news. The big screen adaptation of Roald Dahl's much-loved children's book, The BFG, is finally here. It's the tale of an orphaned child and a mysterious giant who journey to giant country to face the wonders and perils of this mystical land. The film's directed by Steven Spielberg, who created the magic of E.T., the extraterrestrial, 30 years ago. Fans waited for hours at the Cannes Film Festival to catch a glimpse of Spielberg and the cast.
There were no barriers. They were gone, and I felt liberated. I felt like I could do anything on this, and it just brought back feelings I had as a younger filmmaker, and you know, that I could tell a story that was certainly a story that was because of the great writing of Roald Dahl, but also because it was my good friend who wrote E.T., who adapted the BFG, Melissa Matheson.
Well, that's your entertainment for tonight. After the break, Louis has all your weather details for the start of the week.
Welcome to the Weather Centre, everyone. A quick look at our satellite imagery to see how the day's weather has worked out. And there is still a cut-off low busy swirling over the northern parts of the country. That's brought an area of showers and thunderstorms in the area immediately surrounding the core of this low pressure. And that brought very cloudy, cold and very wet weather to some parts of Gauteng today. Showers also spread further eastwards into some parts of Limpopo and Mpumalanga. Let's take a look at Monday's weather conditions. And KwaZulu-Natal will be rain-free. We will still see a bit of cloud cover for the northern parts, and it will be a warm enough afternoon across the province. Temperatures are going to rise into the mid-20s for the Eastern Cape. It's going to be a mostly sunny day, 24 as a high for East London, Port Alfred and Port Elizabeth. Some thick high-level cloud or cirrus is going to be moving in over parts of the Western Cape, but that won't stop temperatures from reaching the mid-20s for most areas, and we're expecting very similar conditions for the Northern Cape. It's going to be a lovely day for the province, although chilly at first for some areas. Kimberley starting off with a minimum of 5. Very much the same into the Free State. Cold at first, 5 degrees for Forest Smith as well as for Zastron. A bit of cloud cover for Harry Smith and Bethlehem, but we are not expecting any rainfall. Partly cloudy and dry into the northwest. It remains mild for most areas, 23 for Mahikeng as well as Rustenburg. In Limpopo, on the other hand, still a few showers and thunderstorms over the eastern parts, including Polokwane, while over the western bushveld, we are expecting it to be a dry day. And very similar expected in the eastern parts of Mpumalanga, 17 for eMakazeni, quite a bit of cloud and still a few thunderstorms around, while the highveld will be drier, 21 for Secunda and Standerton. And finally in Gauteng, temperatures are eventually going to reach the lower 20s in the afternoon. There will still be some cloud, but we do not expect any further rainfall. A look further ahead to Tuesday, and it will be a dry day across South Africa. Lots of sunshine for the central and western parts. And by Wednesday, the dry and warm weather continue for most areas, although a cold front will bring in cloudy and wet weather towards Cape Town.
Recapping tonight's top stories, more arrests in Vuwani as pupils get ready for classes tomorrow. The presidency dismisses reports that the finance minister faces arrest. Well, that's a wrap from the Enews Direct team this Sunday.
Up next on ETV is Modern Family.
To share your views, you can send an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or you can chat to us on Twitter and Facebook at Enews Direct.
Till next time, take care and good night.